Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do another entry here. This one yet again based on one of your new suggestions. This one having to do with a monster, a creature that is found somewhere there in Leicestershire. Hope I'm saying that correctly. But if you happen to be from that location, there's some good news, bad news situation. If you're on the hunt for these type of creatures, and the good news is there's specific locations you can go to. The bad news, though, this is a very dangerous monster, something that you definitely don't want to necessarily come into contact with. Although reading some of the information, it does come across the lines of it being like a story time monster, like the ones told to children to essentially stop them from doing something bad or hanging out somewhere where they shouldn't be. More on that here in just a moment. But you're looking at a representation of it now. Has a very unique name too. It's known as the Black Anise. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that here. Then I'll give my own thoughts and opinions. Those of you that are local as well, let me know. Maybe you've already been to these vicinities and you'll have a good chance of telling us your experiences there. So here's essentially all the info. What is this Black Anise? Well, it's also known as the Black Agnes. It's essentially a boogeyman, or in this case, a boogie woman, that is found somewhere there, again, in Leicestershire, but it's part of English folklore. In fact, it goes so far back, it's towards the 18th century, to be specific. It's also been described as being on the lines of more of a witch as well. And reading some of the characteristics, it does come across as more witch-like, at least what we would think about here in the States. But let me know again what you guys and gals think afterward once this video finishes. But yes, you basically have to go again there to Leicestershire, and then there's a specific area called Dane Hills. Some of you may know more about this. Let me know in the comments again if you know that specific spot. Apparently there's a local area called Black Anise Bower, which is a location that's marked by an old oak tree. And that's where the entrance is of the supposed home associated with this witch slash boogie woman slash monster. Apparently that's the tree that houses that specific spot. In fact, let's talk about the characteristics associated with this witch in case you ever do find her. She is said to be somebody that is very, very tall, although no specific info is given in terms of the height, but it would seem that it should be taller than either your average woman or your average man altogether. She is very easy to spot because of the bluish skin associated with her. She also has these claw-like fingers that she uses to her advantage. More on that here in a minute. She has these long, elongated, sharp teeth, a glowing set of eyes, and then also she has this skin that is also very horrible looking besides being bluish. So the idea is, think of your average witch or look of an average witch, decrepit, old looking, something that looks just like straight out of a horror movie, skin hanging and so on. And then that's where you have this creature as far as this Black Anise. And where you find her again is over there at that location called Danes Hill. Apparently it was made for this reason. Like, in other words, when it came to the location, and it's because of this. It was a way to tell the local children around that area, hey, don't you be staying away from home. Don't you be wandering around to this spot, because apparently the Black Anise will catch you. This is because of this. The notion goes that Black Anise loves to feed on children. This is one of her favorite things to eat. She apparently hunts for children. She finds those children, those wandering children that are again supposed to not come into her area. And then when she does so, she grabs them, eats them, and then takes their skin and then sticks them on that old oak tree. Remember, this is the same one that marked the entrance, which used to be her home. More on that also here in just a moment. But yeah, she uses those claw-like fingers to grab them, much like an animal would that happens to have like large talons. That's what she does. She'll grab them, eat them, skin them, and then put them, as far as that skin, on that actual old oak tree. The reason being is afterwards she would take that skin and then make it part of her skirt. So if you ever have the misfortune of seeing Black Annis in person, and you look at her skirt, keep that in mind that this is something along the lines of the hide slash skin associated with a multitude of children. There are, though, easy ways to stop or get around Black Annis if you happen to be in that area. One of them is this. One is, of course, don't go into that spot. It's more along the lines of a stay away cautionary story, again, that I was mentioning earlier. I think the idea is her story, her legend is mostly based on trying to keep children from doing something wrong, like wandering themselves too far out into the forest, getting lost, getting hunted by animals, that kind of stuff. And so maybe she became a boogeyman or boogie woman to be able to caution children on what to do. But yes, if she is true, if she is absolutely a living creature, a living monster, there's ways around this. One is don't wander into her area. The other option is this: she only leaves her area in darkness. So if it's during the daytime, you're apparently safe. She's a nocturnal creature. She's somebody that is only going to be sleeping during the day and then coming out at night. So not wandering around at night is another way to do so. Another portion is this: protect your animals, especially your farm animals. The idea is that besides children, one of her other favorite treats is farm animals. She eats sheep, she eats lamb as well. And so if you happen to have those farm animals around your area, be sure to place them somewhere at night where they're not going to be tempting enough for her to visit and then grab them and so on. And so when that happens and you protect the animals, then you're in turn protecting yourself as well. Another way is this: you can apparently hear her through a very, very far distance. She has this almost horrible howl, almost like a cackling howl. And the way it mentioned is it's heard from miles away. So if you happen to hear that, and let's say for whatever reason you are wandering out at night, maybe you're in that Danes Hill area, then you hear that from very far away. That's almost her inadvertently giving you a heads up that she is coming along that path. And so you got plenty of time to hide, plenty of time to run away, maybe go into a safe location. You can also hear for this: apparently her teeth, the teeth that I was mentioning earlier, that is very long and elongated, she apparently has them very sharp, and when they grind together, they inadvertently make another sound, this type of grinding sound. And so when that occurs, then you'll also be able to hear it and then get away into another spot too. But otherwise, as far as her physical characteristic, only other thing to mention is sometimes she does actually go to houses. No matter what you've done, no matter all the preparation you've had, even if you're staying at home, she uses her long bony arms to actually go into some open windows. So when she does that, she's again looking for anything involving children sleeping on a bed, maybe even children playing in their room, and then that's when she'll grab them. So the easiest way to stop that is to apparently make sure you have every window there, like in other words, no windows that are broken, no windows that are missing in your home, and then also make sure that they're covered, and then that way she won't be able to peer inside. No mention either as to if she could just simply break the windows, right, or at least go through a door, but along those lines, those seem to be a good protection area. Another interesting thing, though, to mention associated with the Black Agnes is this: her home, which I mentioned earlier, was known as the Black Agnes Bower, which was marked by an old oak tree somewhere near the entrance there in an area called Danes Hill. It may have actually been gone. And so this is why. Apparently, sometime in the 19th century, that hole slash cave was filled in. It was filled in with dirt. Maybe it was done to bury her forever. Maybe it was done for other reasons as well. But either way, though, people think that that home that again used to belong to Black Agnes is no more. So she moved. She moved into another area sometime there as well in the 19th century. And this would have been Leicester Castle. So apparently underneath that castle, there's a whole bunch of cellars. Cellars ranging for who knows how long, maybe tunnels that are connected to them as well, creating these subterranean passages and that extend into other areas of Dane Hills. So if you go by that notion and people believe that part, then in turn she moved there and she's still there to this very day, using it to move in an almost stealthy mode. And this comes into important play because apparently that entire area, the Leicester area, has a bunch of development that has occurred going into the 20th and the 21st century. In fact, many parts of that, what used to be a sparse hillside, is now a large housing estate. So, if this black Anis is truly there and still haunts that area to this day, she has become very stealthy. She's able to basically almost either hide in plain sight or use another method to move about, again, maybe on a subterranean level, maybe underneath the Leicester Castle. Who knows, but she's able to do so, and she's able to keep herself safe to make sure that nobody is doing anything bad to her. But she, in turn, is still a haunting mark there within that location. Once again, taking the areas in terms of a boogeyman or taking the areas in terms of a witch or a monster, and people apparently still talk about her to this very day, even with everyone there leading on their regular lives. Again, that leads me to the question, if anybody here is on a local level within any of those spots that I mentioned, let me know. Maybe if you have some local stories that people say that to this day they still see or hear or something along those lines in terms of the black Anis, then I'd be great to post it in the comments and then let everyone else know as well what's happening. Who knows? She may even be in a hibernation state. Just once she moved, then she's out and about, maybe at a later point. But for right now, she's just standing still wherever she is. But let me know what you guys think as far as this creature here. Is she more along the lines of a boogeyman, boogie woman that was just made up to make sure that children don't go wandering too far off at night? I kind of tilt more towards that. But otherwise, if not, do you think she's more on the lines of a witch? Something that is, again, haunting those locations, stealing animals, stealing children as well, and then still living in an area to this day? Let me know in the comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.